Hi everyone, welcome. This is Keith McGinnis with KCDC Designs. So I had a customer that liked the Ubatuba Granite, liked the Baltic Brown, liked the cells, but wanted some bright colors. Mentioned Peacock, and she absolutely wanted Peacock colors. So inspired by a video I saw done by Stacy Franklin with Artisan Design Concepts and Rhonda Draculis with RK3 Designs, making a few alterations to it. One was I put down a white undercoat, and that really helped bring out make the colors a lot more vibrant. As I also fogged my edges with spray paint, but the colors that I'm using are acrylics. And there's really a fine balancing act when using acrylics with epoxy, because if you don't use enough, it's too translucent. If you use too much, it can get really gummy on you. So I put down a wash coat to begin with, just so when I melded, I could get the colors to flow a little bit better. And so I've got 6 colors that I'm using, and as you can see, I'm just pouring those out randomly. Started out with my darkest colors first. I did several sample boards. Actually, I tried spray paints, I tried mica powders, and acrylics seem to bring the brightness of the colors out more than anything did. So I'm getting my colors poured out right now. Once I get all 6 colors poured out randomly onto the board, then I'll use my hand very lightly just to meld those colors and to fill any dry areas, just to make sure I've got 100% coverage across the countertop. This is a smaller of 2 pieces. This is about 20 square feet. I did use the 3 ounces per square foot, which actually covered very well. The other piece is 40 square foot. And so I had to be really careful of keeping track of how many drops or globs, if you will, of acrylic paint that I mixed into the epoxy. So I wrote down how many drops per ounce. That way, when I did the large piece, I was able to make sure that I was going to get the same amount of vibrancy with the colors. So right now I'm scraping out my cups just to fill in any larger areas that were dry. And again, once I get all of that poured out and getting my bubbles torched out, then I'll use my hand and I'll meld those colors together. Again, very, very lightly. I don't want to mix the colors, but I want them to meld or blend, if you will, just so the colors end up being very random across the entire countertop. Once I get the colors melded in, I'm going to wait about 30 minutes before I start the granification process, if you will, and that'll be coming up here shortly. Right now, once again, I'm just kind of getting the colors melded in, getting my edges covered well. I normally don't have anybody with me when I'm doing an art coat, but I had a friend come over, and it was really nice having an extra set of eyes, able to point out any surface tension, and just kind of keep an eye that I was getting good coverage throughout the whole process. So it really was a plus having him there, and he was absolutely blown away, as I am, by this technique. When the 91% isopropyl alcohol hits the black spray paint, it just absolutely incredible watching the colors appear from underneath. So what you're seeing right now, to me, just kind of looks like a mess. But I see it differently, and my friend that was there made the same comment that Rhonda does. This could be a design all on its own. So anyway, torching out one last time. The video should skip ahead to about 30 minutes that I waited, and that's 30 minutes from when I started mixing the epoxy and getting it poured out onto the surface. If you granify too early, then the epoxy is still too fluid and everything kind of runs together. But you got to be careful that you don't wait too long. And then if you do, then it's possible that the alcohol is not going to fracture the spray paint. I did do this in sections, just so I didn't give the spray paint a chance to dry, because you still want it to be wet when you drop the alcohol on it. So as a test, I did a small area of the backsplash at that 30-minute mark to be sure that I wasn't doing it too early and hopefully not doing it too late. So at this point, it's just kind of a waiting game of trying to decide when the right time is to start the spray paint. So it gives me a chance to kind of look over the project, make sure everything looks good, make sure I've got all my surface tension taken care of. I am going to pull the backsplashes away as I'm doing here. That way I get the epoxy to run over the edges and that the spray paint doesn't bridge across the countertop to the backsplash. Doing everything I can, of course, to try to keep everything level. If the project isn't level with a design like this and you're granifying with spray paint and alcohol, if your epoxy starts to run to one side, you're really going to notice. Now just watch as the alcohol drops on there. It is so cool watching those colors come to life. This customer also has a hammered copper undermount sink. So to try to tie into that, not only did I use the clear 91% isopropyl alcohol, but I also used Stone Coat Countertop copper mica powders mixed in with the alcohol, just so I could get some copper in there to tie in with the sink. This piece isn't close to the sink, but there is some copper in here. Here where you can see I'm doing this in sections, I'm putting down the spray paint, and as quickly as possible then I'm going to start dropping the alcohol. But just look how those colors pop when the alcohol drops on there. It's just the coolest thing in the world to see. So I put some fairly big drops on there first, and then from higher up above I would kind of mist just so I could get some of the smaller cells in there as well. And so now I'm getting the second section, breaking these up because I want the alcohol to dissipate just a little bit instead of doing sections right beside each other. Then you end up with getting too much alcohol on there, and then everything just kind of runs together and you lose your cells. So the 30-minute time ended up being a good time to start the fracturing process. Worked really well. So as I get wrapped up here, thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope this was helpful. And keep in mind, you can use any colors you want with this technique. It is really, really a fun technique and very recreatable. Again, any colors, it's your imagination. So thank you again. And once again, this is Keith McGinnis with KCDC Designs out of Eagle, Nebraska, and I appreciate you watching. Take care.